Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is PBR on US Cowboy, and we are recapping the three biggest stories from Freedom Days in Sunrise, Florida. And we are going to start right away with the hottest team in the PBR. That is the Arizona Ridge Riders. They lost their first game of the season. Since then, they have ripped off 7 wins in a row. They are 7-1. They are the only team with just one loss. They are the best team in the league right now. And over the weekend, they proved it, and they proved it emphatically. They were 3 for 5 in every single game. They scored at least 245 points in every single game. And you look at the teams that they defeated. It is some of the best teams in the league. They defeated the Florida Freedom, who are 5-3, the Texas Rattlers, who are 6-2, and the Carolina Cowboys, who were 4-3 entering that game, came out 4-4, meaning the Ridge Riders didn't just go 3-0 in Florida. They went 3-0 and defeated 3 teams with winning records. A big reason for that. Their leadoff man, Everton Da Silva, set the tone in all 3 games. He was first in the lineup in all 3 games. He went 3 for 3 in all 3 of, or he went 3 for 3. He wrote a ball in every single one of those games, 3 for 3 on the weekend. So no matter what happened for the rest of these games, their leadoff man put them on the board and guaranteed they had at least one qualified ride. That makes winning the games obviously much, much easier when you have a guy that you can count on at the top of your lineup to deliver a qualified ride, set the tone for the game. Everton Da Silva did just that. He is one of 5 bull riders to have covered 6 bulls on the season. One of the other ones, his teammate Luciano De Castro. The Arizona Ridge Riders are the only team who have 2 guys who have covered 6 or more bulls on the season. 7-1, best in the league, 7-game win streak, hottest team in the league. The Ridge Riders are the top story unequivocally of the weekend of Freedom Days in the PBR. But one of the teams that they beat, actually, their win against this team, that team being the Texas Rattlers, is what separates them as the top 2 teams in the league. Freedom 7-1, Rattlers 6-2. But the Rattlers got a big boost this weekend with the return of Brady Fielder after just 2 weeks off. He had a broken leg, took only 2 weeks off. He rode all 3 of his bulls. One of them they got a rewrite on, which they accepted. So officially, he rode 2 bulls. He is officially 5 for 5 on the season after last year when he finished in the top 3 in both UTB and the PBR team's MVP race. But in addition to that, we just mentioned Everton Da Silva and his pop at the top of the Ridge Rider lineup. Well, Brady Fielder, along with Daniel Keeping, are doing just that for the Rattlers. They were 1-2 in every single one of these games, and they both notched a qualified ride in every single one of these games. So you talk about Da Silva setting the tone with a 1-for-1 start with 1 score going on the board. When you put up 2 scores with your first 2 guys, you are going to be tough to beat. Again, one of those they took a rewrite for Fielder, which he did not take. So he is officially 5 for 5, but on his stat sheet, he has ridden all of those bulls. And so the Rattlers go 2-1 on the weekend. Their only loss comes to the Ridge Riders, and still they lead the PBR in riding percentage. They're 21 of 40. A couple teams breathing down their neck. The Freedom are 20 of 40. The Ridge Riders are also 20 of 40. The Gamblers and the Cowboys are both 19 of 40. So you throw in the Outlaws as well, and you've got 6 teams who are riding at least 45% of their bulls so far this year. And then you've also got 3 teams, the Ridge Riders, the Rattlers, and the Freedom, who are riding at least 50% of their bulls. But I want to back up and talk about something that I mentioned off the top for the Rattlers and that is Daniel Keeping, because he started the season 0 for 4. He has been moved to the number 2 guy in their lineup, and he is now 4 for 4 since then. So he is 4 for 8 on the year. And again, the Rattlers have their one loss to the Ridge Riders, but they defeat the Carolina Cowboys in a close one, 169.25 to 168.5. They also defeated the New York Mavericks 176.25 to 87.25. So they are 6-2 on the year, much thanks to the performances of Fielder and Keeping. Specifically this weekend, those two guys, like I said, delivered over and over and over, 3 times over again. So you heard one of those games with the Rattlers. That was awfully close, their game with the Cowboys. And day one, this is our third storyline, day one marked by proving at the beginning of Freedom Days that every point matters in these PBR teams games, because 3 of the 5 games on Friday night were determined by 2 points or less. The Missouri Thunder started out with a win over the Nashville Stampede, 173.25 to 172.25. They rode 4 of the first 5 in that one, but then didn't ride a bull the rest of the way. So the score frozen at 173.25, 172.25 for the last 2 frames. Again, no one can deliver and break through there. It is a Thunder victory by 1 point. The very next game was that Rattlers win over the Cowboys, 169.25 to 168.5. So the Rattlers win by less than a point. And that's interesting, because if the Cowboys win that game, both teams 5-3, but instead razor thin margins. The Rattlers are 6-2. The Cowboys are 4-4 because of what happened in this game over the weekend. And I want to point to 2 things that happened in this game that were interesting. Clay Guyton, the closer for the Cowboys, was in a glorious position to win this one in walk-off fashion, but he's 82.25. He had to be 83.25 to win. And what's interesting about that is his bull on there had a 41-point trip. And so he's only 82.75 on, or 82.25, excuse me, on a 41-point trip. Earlier in the same game, Daniel Keeping, who we mentioned, had a 41.75 point trip on Napoleon, but he turned that into 85.75 points, which ultimately makes the difference. Similar bull scores, but because Keeping was just a little better in that ROB, the Rattlers go on to defeat the Cowboys. Then the last game, Ridge Riders over Freedom, 256.5 to 254.75. Best game of day one by far. Both teams ride 3 bulls. They go back and forth, and the upshot of this one is John Crimmer in a similar position to Clay Guyton. He is in a walk-off position. If he rides for at least 88 points on Feeds Red River, the Freedom win this game. Crimmer had been on Crimmer had been on Feeds Red River 4 times. All 4 of those times, he had been 88 points or better. But in this one, he is marked just 86 points. And so he did his job, almost got the win for his team, but it was just not enough. If he would have had any other trip that he has previously had on that bull, again, same thing like we talked about with Cowboys and Rattlers. We could have been Freedom 6-2, Ridge Riders 6-2 after this weekend. Instead, by the slimmest of margins, the Freedom are 5-3, the Ridge Riders are 7-1. And so very, very close, very, very dramatic matchups this weekend, specifically in that first game. And so we've said it a couple times, but let's just run through where we are in the standings right now in PBR teams. You can see it up here. Ridge Riders 7-1, Rattlers the only team at 6-2, and then there's still a traffic jam here 3 through 7. Freedom 5-3, Gamblers 5-3, Outlaws 5-3. Important to note, Casio Diaz for the Outlaws has gone to injured reserve, so we'll see how they replace the reigning MVP there, or excuse me, the 2024 UTB champion. He was not the MVP, so got to replace him in the lineup there. Cowboys 6-4 or 4-4 at 6th place. Thunder 4-4 in 7th place, and then at the bottom, the Stampede, the Wildcatters, and the New York Mavericks. But you can see the Wildcatters, they're 1-7. They've ridden 13 of 40. They've ridden the same amount of bulls as the Missouri Thunder have, and then we get to the Mavericks at 1-7. And before we go, that is your team standings race. We will check in with the MVP race as well. Number one, we have a new number one at the top of the MVP race. Thiago Salgado is number one. Clay Guyton, number two. Lashana De Castro, we talked about that earlier. Number three, Colton Hevelo, he led the MVP race entering the weekend. He's number four. Then Everton De Silva, the final guy to ride 6. He's number 5, but then look at these guys coming. Look at the guys who have ridden 5 bulls. Brady Fielder, John Kramer, Sandro Batista, and Sage Kimsey have all ridden 5. So MVP race, not even close to being determined yet. Team's regular season winner, not even close to being determined yet, but big weekends for the Ridge Riders, for the Rattlers. They are 7-1 and 6-2 respectively. And that is your breakdown of all things Freedom Days. And we've got action coming up in PBR teams for a bunch of weeks straight. We're in Nashville next weekend, Austin after that, Springfield, Missouri after that. 3 weekends in a row to close out August. Remember, we are here every Monday with the recap, every Thursday with previews, games to watch, matchups to watch, bull riders to watch, all of it coming your way every Thursday for the preview of PBR teams, every Monday for the recap. Then between that, we've got the morning kick and no huddle rodeo, breaking down all things PRCA. So Monday through Thursday, we have all the action for you across all Western sports here on the US Cowboy YouTube. So thank you for joining us talking PBR today. The next time we will talk PBR will be Thursday. Until then, morning kick tomorrow, no huddle rodeo, breaking down all things in the PRCA on Wednesday. We thank you for joining us, and the obligatory like, subscribe, tell a friend. We need all the help we can get to grow our channel and spread the good word of everything we are doing with these videos. So obviously, we appreciate any sharing, any subscribing, any likes. It all helps us greatly. Until then, we will see you tomorrow on the US Cowboy YouTube channel. And again, for one final time, we'll have more PBR on US Cowboy on Thursday, but we'll see you the next 3 days. Thank you for joining us here for PBR teams coverage on US Cowboy.